Hey guys, today we're going to check out and compare some light strips for HomeKit, but not any old run-of-the-mill light strip. All these that we're going to be looking at today are addressable light strips. Let's jump into the video. Now, I pretty much have every brand light strip out there that's made specifically and that's native to HomeKit, and most of them are basically the same thing. Now, if you're looking for something special, like if you're looking for thread support, there's only one LED strip that carries thread for HomeKit, and that's the Nanoleaf. So if you're looking for thread, you have no choice but go to Nanoleaf, but unfortunately, they are not addressable. Now, the three addressable LED strips that I'm going to be talking about today is the Lifx, which is actually one of the first name brand light strips I've had in this house. I actually installed them back on my backdrop a couple years ago. But honestly, if I was going to redo the backdrop today, spoiler alert, I probably would not pick Lifx. Next up is the Coolio light strip from a brand name is called LifeSmart. Thirdly, we have the Onvis light strip. For full disclosure, Lifx did send me some light strips back in the day at a substantial discount for a review, and Onvis sent me two of their light strips, and I bought Coolio on my own. But this is still going to be an honest review of all these, no matter if I got them myself or if they were given to me. If I don't like something, I'm definitely going to let you know. All these have that feature. Now, unfortunately, the Lifx LED strip, it doesn't have a mic built into the receiver, into the controller. It only uses the mic that's on your phone. So if you're playing music from your HomePod or another speaker that's in the room, it's going to work great on the Onvis and the Coolio lights. But the Lifx, if your phone's not in that room, unfortunately, it won't work properly. Now, the one that I would think that would have it is the one that's been on the market the longest and is the most expensive, and that's the Lifx light strip. But unfortunately, when you try to sync the scenes with HomeKit, it gives you this little message saying, we can't bring this over, we can only bring over one color. So I just really don't understand this, because you can already do single colors in the Home app. You don't need the Lifx to do that. Now, Coolio, they also, you're able to bring over some effects into HomeKit. You can save a scene, but unfortunately, when it comes over, it doesn't work at all. You don't even get a single color. You get the name of it, you can reprogram it, and it just doesn't work. So last but not least, and the newest on the market, Onvis, they nailed it out of the park. You can create these effects, you can do the custom or the preset ones and bring them on the HomeKit, and they worked great. The Lifx strip, they have sections that are 6 LED light strips each, so they all have to be one color in these 6, and then the next 6 can be a different color, and so on and so on. Now, when it comes to the Onvis, it is sections of 3 LEDs, where when it comes to the Coolio, each LED can be a different color. So you'll see in some of the special effects, you can see right next to each other, you have 2 different light colors. Unfortunately, with the Coolio light strip, they don't have a painting effect, and I wish it did, because they have individual LEDs that could be a different color, and that would be really cool. Where the Onvis, you can paint, but remember, it's 3 LEDs at a time. It's like a little snake. You can say, this section is going to be red, this section is going to be blue, and it's a really cool way to paint and create your own LED colors. And the same thing with the Lifx. Unfortunately, it's not as easy as Onvis, but you know, in just a couple of moments, you could definitely figure it out, and you can pretty much do the same thing. Onvis did report that their 2-meter strip has 512 lumens. Their 5-meter strip has 1281 lumens. I couldn't find anything on the Coolio light strip, but out of the three, it is definitely not the brightest. Of course, the one that's most expensive is the brightest, and that is Lifx. And what's different about Lifx when it comes to the colors, not only do they have the LED little chip for the RGB, but they also have a warm white chip. But of the three, it is definitely the brightest, not only in the white, which you expect because it has a separate white, but it also is the brightest when it comes to the colors. Of course, when you talk about colors, people are going to talk about color saturation and that kind of stuff. You know, it's very subjective. I would say, in my opinion, Lifx is definitely the most saturated when it comes to the colors. It's a little bit brighter, a little bit more accurate, but Omvis is not that far behind. And you know, Coolio is good, but it definitely falls behind in both brightness, the lumens, and the color accuracy and saturation. And when it comes to Lifx, they do say that you can cut them. There is a little section after every 6 LEDs, but once you cut it, unless you're at the part where you can actually have metal showing, like right here, you're not going to be able to extend them. But keep in mind, of course, if you don't cut them and you just want to keep extending it, you can actually extend the Lifx out to 10 meters. So the power adapter has enough power to power 10 meters of wire or LED light strip. And when it comes to Coolio, they have a cutting mark after every single LED. So that just tells you right there that you can cut these and extend them. And you can actually extend the 60 LEDs per meter light strips out to 4 meters. There's enough power in the power adapter, which, by the way, that power adapters, Coolio is one of the light strips that you can actually power over USB. So that's definitely a huge benefit. And if you get the 30 LED light strips per meter, you can actually take this out to 8 meters on that single power USB plug-in adapter. Now with the brand new Omvis, you can cut it after every 3 LEDs or at the soldering point, but what's amazing about this strip is that you don't have to, because this is one of the first strips that I've personally seen that you can actually turn off the sections. So you can actually turn off a section of 3 LEDs at the beginning or at the end of the LED strip. So if you don't want to cut it, you don't have to. You can just turn off the LED strips. You can actually turn off up to 50% of the LED strip. And they do give you a little heads up. If you do want to cut this, you can still cut it, but they do recommend that you go ahead and turn those lights off before you do. I actually tried to extend it here. I had some extra left over, and unfortunately you cannot. Because of that feature of turning LED light strips on and off, you can't tell the app to add more. You can only remove. So if you buy the 2 meter light strip, it knows exactly how many sections you have, and if you buy the 5 meter light strip, it knows exactly how many sections that one has. And those power adapters between the 2 meter and the 5 meter are actually different. 2 meters, I think, is 12 watts, and the 5 meter is 24 watts. It's possible they can correct and add that feature in the app, but right now you cannot extend these. Both the Omvis and the Coolios are, they say it is IP65. That is just for the light strips. Unfortunately, all the power adapters and the beginning of the wire, that is not water resistant at all. Where Lifx, they pretty much tell you indoors only, there is no water resistance. The Lifx is just for a reset button, so you can't turn it on and turn it off from the remote. But the Omvis does have this teardrop remote, which just is awesome. It has all these controls. You can turn it on, turn it off. You can dim it, increase the light. You can also change the mode, which changes the effects. Plus it has the microphone that you can sync the music. Coolio's remote also has a little microphone for that music sync, and it has a single button where it can rotate through the different effects, and it can also turn it on and off. If it's powered on, it still has electricity and it's just from the app, they're all going to remember the previous sync or previous light color and effect. But when it came to actual losing power, the only one that did not have a power on state memory was Lifx. This one came on bright as can be. Starting out at the most expensive, the oldest of the bunch, the Lifx. And guess what, guys? This, hopefully you guys can see this. Let me see if I can get this on screen. It just pretty much fills the screen. It's only 40 inches long. 40, that's it. It's not even 2 meters, 40 inches. All right, so guess how much this costs? For the starter kit of 40 inches, it's $70. Whoa! You can get 80 inches, you can double that in a starter kit, and that is 90. That's a much better deal, but still, both of those are outrageous. Do sell extension kits of 40 inches without the remote is $30 for 40 inches, which is, that's pretty crazy too. And then for the Coolio, it is $60 for 2 meters for the 60 LEDs per meter light strip. They also have the 30. I couldn't find pricing on that anymore. I have seen it on sale, but it was a while ago. I just couldn't find pricing. The extension kits are $33 for 2 meters. And remember, you can extend the 60 LEDs to 4 meters, so you can get 2 of those for a pretty for under $100, so it's pretty good. But Onvis beats them all. The 2 meter light strip is $50, and the 5 meter light strip is $70. So that's a great deal for the $70. And they do have sales. If I could find any sales on any of these, I will definitely link them down below in the description and also in the comments. So definitely check it out there. I wouldn't call any of these great. Now, Lifx has been around the longest and they're the most refined app, but it does have a learning curve. I actually found the older app to be much easier. Maybe I was just used to that, and when I came over to this new one, it's just things are just seem a little bit out of place. And even though I can eventually find it, it just takes me a little while, even though I've been using this same app for a couple years. Where Onvis, they've actually improved the app, definitely very user-friendly, but unfortunately it's not very stable. For instance, when I'm trying to bring over a scene with 4 different light strips, I know on that 3rd or 4th light strip that I'm putting into that scene, unfortunately the thing's going to crash. So for the scenes that I'm going to show you at the end, where I'm working those in HomeKit, I'm actually have 2 scenes, one for 2 of the light strips and another scene, the exact same scene for the other 2 light strips. Is my little workaround until they can fix this issue, hopefully in the near future. And when it comes to the Coolio, I gotta say, hey, when I first got this a couple weeks ago, their app sucked. It really didn't have a lot of features, but just the other day, wow, there's so much stuff in there now. I've only played with her for a few days, and I'm blown away. It's not as refined as Lifx or Onvis, but they've come so far in a very short period of time, as long as I've been looking at it. So it's definitely a lot more user-friendly than it used to be, and it seems pretty stable also. A lot of them can create something very similar, but none of them are identical. So I never could get the different light strips to do the same scene at the same time. It's just, they're just too different. But I can get them to do something very similar. This is also going to be very subjective of which effects that you like. So definitely, I wish I could recommend an effect. If you like this type of effect, go with this one. This type of effect, go with that one. But unfortunately, it's just too many of them. But what I can also tell you, when it came to the music sync, I gotta admit, the Onvis had the best effects. I think they were more spot on with the bass and you know, with the music. And next up would be the Coolio, and unfortunately, the music sync on the Lifx just sucked. So as you can see, these are all very cool. They all have their pluses and minuses, but if I only had one to pick, which one would it be? It would have to be the new guy on the block, and that would be the Onvis. Their special effects, their music sync, their remote, the pricing, it just has it all. Coolio is probably the second best, even though it's not the brightest, it doesn't have the best colors. But if you are looking for the brightest and the best colors and don't mind the pricing or the shortage of LEDs that they actually give you, the length, then you know, you have no choice but to go to Lifx, because they definitely have the brightness and the color saturation. But if you don't need that stuff, definitely I highly recommend Onvis, and that's the one that I actually picked to do the entire outline of my daughter's ceiling. And this was a pretty big project because I didn't want to just stick these up there. I wanted to lay down track, put these inside, and then put the diffuser on top because I didn't want to see the LEDs. So this was definitely a huge project for me. It's bigger than this project right here. It actually took 4 5-meter kits, and I did decide to cut 2 of them because it was a little bit extra. I had no issues with that, and the entire project came out great. Check it out. So you can see how much fun that is. My daughter and I have a ball in there. The wife comes in, she gets a headache. You know, what can we do? But it was a great project. It did take a long time, but I think it turned out great. I really love the Onvis light strip. If you guys made it this far, you guys are awesome. I do want to thank my Patreon members. These guys are amazing. If you want to learn more about becoming a Patreon member and the benefits of becoming a Patreon, definitely check out this link right here. And if we want to see a review, the original review of the Lifx light strip, check out this video right here. I will see you guys on next video. Thanks for watching. I'm out.